Welcome to the Bogosity Podcast for the 16th of January 2012, the podcast that knocks strong odors out. This is your host, Shane Killian. Let's bypass the blocks to the news of the bogus. We've been showing on this podcast the futility of government ideas like the Protect Intellectual Property Act, which attempts to impede the liberty of individuals so the corporations can profit from an outdated 20th century business model by shutting down the entire domains of websites where it is claimed there is any content that infringes these corporations' copyrights. It isn't just the United States. Other countries have done this too. Case in point, Finland, which right off the bat has shown the exact kind of abuse everyone is worried about. Along with many domain names associated with the Pirate Bay, the court order slipped in one more domain name, that of Electronic Frontier Finland, an online civil rights organization that has been opposing these actions. Almost literally from the start, these measures are being used to silence opposition to government cronyism. Guess what? Turns out, people don't like censorship and control of their free lives. Who knew? A group of hackers is planning to set up an alternative internet service called the Hackerspace Global Grid. This grid would be able to connect you to anywhere on the internet without the possibility of it being impeded by governmental or corporate interests. This will be done through a network of stations run by volunteers and even their own communications satellites. Sometimes you're presented with a news story that you have no idea is bogus or not. The line between madness and genius is indeed quite narrow, and some stories seem to not only straddle the line, but dance over it while making silly noises. Such is the case with a story out of Sweden, where copymism has been officially recognized as a protected religion. What is copymism? It's a religion that holds sacred the copying and sharing of information. Whenever someone mentions the injustices going on in police and court systems around the country, the apologists for the state come in and say they're just isolated instances, that they're not part of any widespread problems. Well, statists, I've got your isolated instances right here. In Denver, Colorado, over 500 people who were wrongly jailed between 2002 and 2009 have filed a joint lawsuit with the ACLU against the city of Denver because of systematic problems that lead to wrongful arrests. The civil rights lawyers say that these 500 are just the tip of the iceberg and don't even approach the real number of citizens who have been harmed by these systematic errors. All over the country, third parties and independent candidates have to deal with ballot access laws, some of them so onerous it can take hundreds of thousands of dollars to just get on the ballot for one election cycle. Whenever ballot access reforms are demanded by the people, the statists come back with the excuse that they have to keep the ballot uncluttered, to keep from confusing people. Seems to me if we can handle dozens of cell phone choices, we can handle more than two candidates. And that's not speculation. At the recent New Hampshire Republican primary, voters actually had dozens of candidates to choose from. And now it's time to try and hold down the dry heaves caused by this week's biggest bogon emitter. Lord T. Hawkeye nominates Congressman Lamar Smith, sponsor of the Stop Online Piracy Act, for his comments regarding the criticisms of this horrendous bill. He called those criticisms unfounded and said that the organizations opposing the bill are illegitimate. Here are some organizations that are illegitimate according to Smith: eBay, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Mozilla, PayPal, Reddit, Tumblr, Twitter, Wikipedia, Yahoo, the Internet Archive. And now it's time to pray real hard for the sanity of this week's Idiot Extraordinaire. And this week it goes to none other than Pope Benedict what number are we up to now? 16? Yeah, 16. Pope Benedict the 16th. Geez, you'd think these guys could come up with an original name every now and then. Who released a statement saying that allowing same-sex marriage would, quote, undermine the family, threaten human dignity, and the future of humanity itself.